Learning Essential Markdown. Start by creating a new note. We'll call this one Essential Markdown. Come into the body of the note with our / command. We'll choose split right. We can also click the three dots, select split right. We can also go Command P, type split and split down or split right. On the right hand side, Control O to open a existing file. We'll use this one here called Learning Essential Markdown. Hide the properties. What is Markdown? Markdown is a lightweight markup language that allows you to format text in a way that is easy to read and write. It can be easily converted to HTML. It was created by John Gruber in 2004 as a way of making writing for the web more readable and writable. This format is universally accepted and protects your notes in the future. We'll start with headings. On the right hand side, we have 6 headings. If we want to do a heading 1, we hit the hash, space, and then type the name of our heading. When we hit enter, we now have our heading. If we look at this from the source mode, we can see we're just using this hash with heading 1, and we can do a heading 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 as shown. So we'll copy, paste those all in, and now we'll go back to our reading view, and now we have our 6 headings that we can use. We'll now move down to paragraphs. To create a paragraph, use a blank line to separate one or more lines of text. You can see here in the example, we just have this is a paragraph, this is another paragraph. Next, we'll move on to bold, italics, and strike through. Bold a word, you can highlight Control B. That puts 2 asterisks besides the word. If we switch over to reading mode, we can now see our bold text. If we want to make this italics, we can highlight Control I. Now, if it's already got bold on it, we may need to remove the bold, otherwise it will be bold italics. And then it's just going to use 2 asterisks as shown. You can also use underscores for italics. For a strike through, 2 squiggly lines, 2 squiggly lines, and that strikes our word out. We'll next move on to lists. So we have ordered lists and unordered lists. So ordered lists is counting with a number, and the markdown for that is simply 1 dot first item, 2 dot second item. If you hit enter, it'll automatically give you the third item, and so on. You can convert that into an unordered list by highlighting, right-clicking, going paragraphed, choosing bullet list. Now we have our bullet list. If you wanted to make those task lists, you could select task. Now we have 3 tasks. Move down to links. So we have 2 types of links. We have external links. We have internal links. To make an internal link, we hit the double square bracket. Then it's going to give us an option here to choose where we want to link it. So we're going to link to callouts. If we want to create an external link, say we wanted to link to John Gruber here. So we can see here we have a external link. If we look at that external link, it's just a photo of John Gruber. So if we add a exclamation mark before John Gruber, then the external link, that's what it looks like in source mode. When we go to view mode, then we have a picture of John Gruber. If we wanted to change the size of an image, we can do so by adding a size at the end. We can do so by adding 150 by 150. That makes the image 150 by 150. We can also just specify the width of 150. Now we have the width of 150. And if we just want to keep it the original ratio, we just leave it as is. Obsidian allows inline code blocks, also blocks of code, the type of code it is, JavaScript, and then you enter your block of code in there. So in this example on the right, we've got our JavaScript there, and now we have our block of code. We can also collapse that with our heading. We can do inline code by taking this block here, pasting it, and then just doing 1 on each side. Now we have an inline block of code. Tables are a little bit tricky. So you can see the markdown for a table shown here. I like to just right click, go insert table, then type in heading 1. If you tab, it breaks it. So Control Z, kind of have to use your right keyboard, and then heading 2. I prefer to do tables with community plugins. If you're happy with how to make a table with the base syntax here, that's how you would make one. We've covered over task lists, and we can see the syntax is as shown. You might get this happen from time to time where it doesn't actually render correctly. So to get around that, select, right click and go paragraph task list, and then that's going to give us the correct checkboxes to use. Next, we'll move on to callouts. This is its own note, so we'll link to it with our internal note. And then what we can do there is we can control to hover and peek to look at the note, or we can hit the middle mouse button, and that's going to open that callout note in its new note. If I want to put that over, I can drag and drop it over to the right hand side. And you can see here all the types of callouts that you can use within Obsidian. So you've got a note callout, abstract, summary, info, a tip. And these are quite good when you want to emphasize points within your notes. And there's a whole different type of callouts there that you can use. You can even go one step further and customize the CSS to further customize these callouts. But I think the default callouts that they include give you a lot of options already. So you can have a callout template in your vault, and then you can just jump into source mode, and you can see that if you wanted a tip, you could just grab it, paste it, and now you've got a tip to work with. If you wanted a hint, you could grab that, paste it in, and then you've got a hint. You can see how it's got a little purple line there, but it doesn't here. Now it's back to the same as this. We can also start it collapsed, or open, should I say. We can also start it so it's not closed by putting a plus, and that's going to open it by default and still give us the option to hide. Or we can just take out the plus and minus completely, and then it just appears open without any option to open or close. The Markdown is really easy. You'll probably find yourself working in source mode a lot of the time. If you're not working in source mode, you'll be working in the editing mode like such, which just hides the source once you hit the enter key. So if you were to put in a call out, it'll show you, but then when you hit enter, this is my call out, then it's going to give you the result. And if you want to go back to the syntax, you can click this edit block. And if you don't like that, you can always jump back into source mode, and it'll show you that all the time. Effective note taking and note making strategies. Here is an example of the system I use for taking notes. Remember, your system is going to be unique to your specific needs. Starting from the left, you can see books, articles, videos, blogs, etc. These are either captured as literature notes or cards. You can also add a fleeting note and then take literature and card notes into that fleeting note, which lives in your note lab. Literature notes are usually stored in your vault, and you use those references to write your cards, permanent and distilled notes. Cards are a piece of knowledge, like ideas, concepts, and tools. Once this cycle is completed, all your efforts and explorations go to your outbox. There are some basic principles to follow. Start with a clear goal, use templates, link your thinking, use tags, revise often, use for learning, show your work, and have fun. The structure I use contains folders, tags and links, utilizes the Zettelkasten system, pillars, pipes, and vaults, para, project areas, resources, and archives, knowledge, action, explorations. Generally speaking, you'll encounter three main types of notes in your second brain system: fleeting notes, literature notes, distilled notes, which are also known as permanent notes. What is a fleeting note? A fleeting note is a brief, temporary note or piece of information that is not meant to be saved or retained long term. What is a literature note? A literature note refers to a specific type of note that is used to capture and organize information from external sources, such as books, articles, research papers, YouTube videos, and so on. What is a distilled note? A distilled note refers to a specific type of note that is designed to be a long-lasting, evergreen piece of content within your knowledge-based system. While fleeting notes, literature notes, and distilled are common in a personal knowledge management system like Obsidian, there are other types of notes that can be utilized. Some additional types include project notes, meeting notes, reference notes, idea notes, concept notes, daily notes, task notes, research notes, quotes, learning notes. These various types of notes help create a comprehensive and organized knowledge management system catering to different aspects of personal and professional life. Note making. Think of your notes as a personal knowledge garden. Notes follow a note making cycle. There are 4 stages to the note making cycle. The first stage is the seedling stage. Think of new notes that enter your system as seedlings. As they grow, they develop into plants. Evergreen notes are your final distilled note. Knowledge garden maintenance. Seedling stage. Consider adding more detail or context when capturing new notes. The more information you can include initially, the easier it will be to cultivate those notes later. Experiment with different note-taking formats. For example, bullet points, mind maps, outlines, to see what works best for you in the seedling stage. Establish a system for tagging and categorizing your seedling notes to make them easier to locate and connect later on. Growth and development. Regularly review your seedling notes and identify opportunities to expand, refine, or combine them into more robust plants. Look for connections between your notes and try to cross-pollinate ideas by linking related concepts. Consider adding visual elements, diagrams, images to help solidify your understanding and make the notes more engaging. Continuously refine and distill your evergreen notes to ensure they are concise, comprehensive, and up to date. Regularly review your evergreen notes to identify areas that could benefit from further refinement or expansion. Explore ways to make your evergreen notes more actionable, such as including next steps or practical applications. Knowledge garden maintenance. Periodically prune or remove outdated or redundant notes to keep your knowledge garden tidy and manageable. Experiment with different organizational structures to see what works best for your learning style and the type of information you're working with. Consider ways to share or collaborate on your knowledge garden with others, as this can help cross-pollinate ideas and strengthen your understanding. Linking your notes. We'll create a new note called linking your notes example, and we're going to put a link in, and to do that we hit the double square brackets. Obsidian will give us a menu to search. We can just start typing the name of the note we want to link, and in this case I'm going to link it to this other note called linking your notes. So now I have an internal link to linking your notes. So I'm going to go hit the middle mouse button, and that's going to open that note in a new note. Remember, I can split right by Control P, split right. So now I have my note on the right hand side, and I can close this one. And now I have my original note and the note that it's linked to. The true power of Obsidian is being able to link your notes together. By understanding how information relates to one another, you can improve your memory and recall. This process also helps you form deeper understandings of ideas and concepts throughout your vault. The next thing I want to show you is how to take this information here on the linking your notes and put it over to the left-hand side. Now we could go and copy and paste by Control-C, Control-V, and now we have this text over here on the left-hand side. But what if we went and made a change here? Then it's not going to update over here. So now we've got redundant information on the left-hand side. So what we can do to fix that is we can go into our editing mode. We can go put our double square brackets. We can go linking your notes. And then on the end, what we can do is we can put a hash, and it's going to ask us for what heading we want. We don't want a heading, so we'll put a caret. Caret's just a little up arrow, and then we're going to choose this block here, which is our information, and then it's going to put this little number with characters at the end. So if we look at that and go into our view, now we have this weird kind of link. So what we want to do is we want to go back and put an exclamation mark, and now it's going to show us this information over here. So if I go in, remove that now, you can see it's got the caret reference here, but then it updates on the left-hand side on the fly. If I wanted to make that a little bit more reader-friendly, I can go info, linking your notes, something along those lines. Now I've got to update it here as well. So info, linking your notes, and now I have a more user-friendly name, and it's linking to here and here. Understanding backlinks and how they work. Once you start making a few notes and linking them together, you're going to want to see the linking between those notes. In the right sidebar, you will see the highlighted icon, which shows you a list of notes linked to your current note you have open. I'll use my real second brain to demonstrate this. You can see here I've selected backlinks for this note focus. We've got a lot of links here to authors that have written about focus, also all the books and action items from those books. And then down the right-hand side here, under backlinks for focus, we have all the backlinks to focus. So this is everything that is related to the topic focus. And it'll also show us how many links are within that particular note. So focus within my vault has 98 mentions. If I'm trying to flush out a note that has something to do with focus, then this is a handy feature to use. Tags and search. What are tags? Tags are keywords or topics that assist you to quickly find notes in your vault. To create a tag, enter the hash symbol in the editor, followed by a keyword of your choice. An example would be hashtag Obsidian. We'll quickly go over Obsidian properties, which are also known as YAML. YAML stands for YAML Ain't Markup Language. To add tags as YAML to our notes, we need to enter the syntax below at the very top of our note. It's very important that they're at the top of the note or they won't work. You can specify your own properties. They don't need to be anything in particular. However, tags is an included property within Obsidian. Let's try it out now. We'll highlight, copy, and paste this to the top of our note. When we toggle back to the editing view, we will see our properties listed at the top. There is a button to add an additional property if we need to. Let's highlight and clear our note. Remove our existing properties. We'll add an additional tag called concept, and then we're going to look at embedding a search query. I'll click my three dots and turn off reading view. That's going to default me back to source mode, so I can uncheck source mode. Now I'm in editing mode. What I can do is I can put 3 backticks followed by query, and then I'm going to query for the tag Obsidian, and that's going to give me my search query inside of my note. You can see now I've got the same results as I do here on the left-hand side. So this could be handy when you're researching a particular topic and you would like to put all the references to other notes at the bottom of that particular note. To remove, we can click our little button here and delete it out the way. We take out tag, we'll look at the little search icon up the top left here, and then this gives us a little search field, and then we have a few different search options. So we've already searched for the tag. We could search for a file name. So if we put in file and then call out, we can see there is a note called call out. If I hit the middle mouse button, I can open up that note, or I can click and drag into my note here, and now I have an internal link to call outs. And that's good when you're researching. So if I wanted to do emojis, I could drag that in. Now I have 2 links, one to call outs and one to emoji tag taxonomies. And this could be used throughout your vault. Emoji tag taxonomies are inspired by Brian Jenks. Brian uses emojis as tags in his Obsidian vault. The tags below are the tags that I use throughout my vault. You could take this one step further by adding special characters as prefix to your notes. Personally, I use a prefix of 3 letters, but this can be distracting when your vault gets bigger. So an example is if I make a canvas file, I'll put CAN at the prefix before the name of the canvas file, and YTV for any YouTube videos that I watch and take literature notes on. You could also use these tag taxonomies down here. So say you were doing an article note, you could use that little emoji there. And then when you do a search for that particular emoji, then it's going to show you all the articles. Or you can do that one there. That'll show you everything in the Note Lab. When you start developing your seedlings, plants, and evergreen notes, you can put your seedlings in and you can put your plants in and you can search for notes based on little emojis. And you can see over here, these are also tags and you can see how many of each. So we've got 4 seedlings in this particular starter kit. Once your vault grows, you will have a lot more tags and you'll have a lot more seedlings, ideas, tools, thoughts, information throughout your vault. We won't cover search in too much detail, but just know that you can search to match the path of a file, to match the file name. You can search for tags, keywords, or a section with the same heading. You can also do a Control-O, find or create a note, and you simply just type what you're looking for, hit the middle mouse button, and open up the note. Map of contents. What is a map of contents? The Obsidian community has a popular concept called map of contents. Mocks provide a visualized structure of your notes to see how they are interconnected. Mocks are notes that primarily link to other notes, serving as an index or a small table of contents for a particular topic. These are one of the best ways to quickly organize your notes in Obsidian. I use a few mocks within my Obsidian vault. The one that I use the most is Explore Notes. This one shows all the latest notes from my vault. I also use my inbox, and this one shows everything that is in my Note Lab, cards, spaces, and vault. You can see down, if I scroll down, I have all my notes from the Note Lab, all my cards from my cards, all my notes from spaces, and all my notes from vaults. I can also see all my canvas mind maps through my mind map canvas mock. Anything that I'm learning, or my outbox, or my YouTube channel. I've just started to import my Notion System Engineer wiki into Obsidian. And I've also got a bookshelf for all the books that I have read or are currently reading. And I can toggle between my books through a little menu up the top. And it's still a work in progress. I still have to add covers, the author, the ratings, and some tags for a few of my books. It's a little project that I'm working on at the moment. So mocks are not really going to become very relevant until your vault starts to grow. If we were to create a basic mock for the starter kit here, I'm going to use a community plugin called DataView. We can read about DataView in here. It's been installed 1.8 million times. And what it does is it allows you to flush out notes within your second brain that has properties attached to them. So you can see this one here is creating a table, and it's taking the property time played, length, and rating with the name of the note, and then it's organizing it into a table format. So that's what we're going to do inside our mock. And this is a little bit advanced for beginners, but I just wanted to highlight the power of Obsidian once you start becoming more confident using the application. So we'll jump back into the editor. We're just going to create a new note. I'm going to call this one Start Here. Then I'm going to hold the Windows key and hit the dot, and I'm going to select the map, Control X and Control P. And now I have my first mock. And then what I want to do is I want to put a heading, and I'm going to put my heading as Note Lab. What I want to do is I want to list all the notes in my Note Lab on this mock so that I don't have to go down here and try to find the note that I'm after. So what I'm going to do is close that, and then I'm going to take this inbox note here by hitting the middle mouse button to open it in a new tab. And I'm just going to grab my DataView query, which is this one here. Don't worry about the rest of this note for now. We're just going to go over here and paste it. Now at the moment, because I've written Markdown, it's just going to show this data view query as Markdown. It's not actually going to render it as a data view query. It's not going to do that until we change the word Markdown to data view. And we'll just read through what this data view is doing. So it's creating a table. Well, we're going to call it list from note lab, and it's going to take everything in our note lab over to the left and list those notes out to match what's in here as it has done so there. So it's taking everything from note lab and it's sorting it descending, but it's going to limit it to 40. So we can further drill that down to 10 if we like. And now it's only going to take the first 10 notes from 0 days to 8 days that have been in the note lab. So this is a really basic mock, but this is the power of Obsidian. We'll just put that back to 40 and you can see everything that's in the starter kit that's been created over the last 21 days is listed in a nice table format. If we had more properties within each of these notes, then we can add more columns with that particular property. But for now, I'll just keep it very simple. And to make our next one, we just paste again and we'll call this one cards. And then we're just going to change list from cards. And then we're going to say from 0 to cards. And then we'll render. And now we have all our cards. So you can see you can make a pretty basic inbox mock by just having a simple data view query that pulls all the notes in to show you how old they are in the vault. And I find that quite handy sometimes, just if you want to have a nice list view of all your notes and how old they are. So we'll go into data view in another video, but for now, just know that you can build some powerful mocks with data view queries. You could also do a map of content like a static index page. So if we have a look at this note focus, we can see we have all our authors listed that talk about focus, all our books, and all our action items. These are not data view queries. These are simply just dragged into here manually. I don't recommend doing this because if you forget to add an author that's written about focus, then it might get missed from your index map of content. But if you like doing it this way and you want to have more control on where everything is listed, then this is a handy way to create a mock as well. This concludes part 2, mastering the basics of Obsidian. Coming up in the next video is part 3, unlocking Obsidian's potential.